nation, and a million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's always great to be here. Excuse me. For another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. We have a lot to talk about today. There's just so much going on. I'm going to try to do my best to break this down as much as I can, as quickly as I can. So first thing we're going to talk about, of course, let me just put it up there since most people don't realize we always have new people to the show that watch. So I am Joe Vollano. I'm your host, your guiding light through all the craziness going on in the world and in our state and in our city today. So again, I'm glad you are all here. This show, again, is informational. It's entertaining, I hope. But always works best when you guys do get involved. And I know you guys always get involved on the message board. But if you want to get it in on the show and make your voice heard to everybody out there, call on in 203-679-9610. Or you can email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. I do have my email up. And of course, like I said, if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or LinkedIn, you could always join in on the message board. I always get that up and running. Usually you guys are going a little bit too fast for myself, but I do try to keep up, and I will answer some things as you guys put it up there. But the most important, obviously, there's a lot of topics to discuss. The first thing we're going to talk about is I call it the hostage tape that is out by the city. So when I talk about the hostage tape, if no one's watched it yet, it is a YouTube video of the city manager, Tim Kuhn, along with Kevin McNamara for our director of finance, and of course our tax assessor, Melinda Fonda. And I call it the hostage tape because they definitely don't want to be there. I don't think any of them want to be there. Without a doubt, if you watch the video, none of them want to be there, and they're really friggin' annoyed that they have to be there. So that's first thing, if you watch it. But to me, the big thing is, and the thing that makes me happy and makes me a little warm and fuzzy inside, is the fact that they had to do it. The fact that they had to put a video out there, the fact that they had to put this video out shows you that there is panic at City Hall. Without a doubt, there is a lot of panic at City Hall. Because what this video, again, if you know liberals, then you would know why they're doing this. They're doing this because, I'm telling you right now, majority of the city council is telling them, we have a friggin' problem here. We have a problem. The people
I'm not sure I understand.
are getting, oh, see, I got Siri over here trying to tell me she doesn't understand what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to break it down for you, Siri. Just give me a minute. What's happening here is that Democrats and independents, people that these city councilors know usually have their back, are sharpening their pitchforks. There are people that have had enough. There are people that are not Republicans. They're not We the People. I can tell you right now, the fact that this video came out tells me that independents and Democrats are blowing up City Hall. They are blowing up the phone lines at City Hall saying, what the hell is going on? No one is buying what they are trying to sell us with this budget coming up. No one. And in this video, Tim Coon starts it off by saying, whoa, wait a minute. The mill rate does not dictate the budget dictates the mill rate. Okay, he's absolutely true. And I think we've said that here for months now. Everyone needs to settle down. We understand that the revaluation was done. We all are shocked by what we have seen. But now they come out with an explanation of how that reval was done. And I have the numbers here. Oh, here it is. So the average house, single family house, went up 26%. That's the average single family house in the city of Maryland is going up 26%. But that's not the people blowing up their phones. That is not. So most of those single family homeowners, believe it or not, are Republicans, are independents that own their home, unaffiliated that own their home, even some Democrats. But the problem they run into, multi-family homes, which are renters, their average increase is 38%. Some of them are up and above that. So when Kevin, during this hostage video, turned around and says, well, if you went up 25%, that's the break even at the current mill rate that they're setting, which is 32.88. So at 32.88, if you did not see an increase of 25%, if you saw anything less than 25% and less, then it's a wash. It's a wash. Now, if you went up over that 25%, it's a tax increase. The problem is, like I just said, homeowners, single-family homeowners are like, okay, if I see a 1%, 2%, and Kevin gave an example, the average would go up, if you went up 31%, it'd be an average of $271 increase. Now, the problem is you have multifamily houses that have gone up 38%, some of them close to 40, 50%, some of them 100%, which I don't know how the hell that happened. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing some of those, because remember, next week, starting tomorrow, assessment appeals start tomorrow night. So assessment appeals start tomorrow night. I know my schedule is packed. For the next 2 weeks, I will be at City Hall every night from 3 to 8, 9 o'clock. Because I'm on the Board of Assessment Appeals. So we'll be hearing cases all week. And then even on Saturday, we'll be hearing them from, I believe, 9 to 1. So if you got your letter, make sure you're there on time and bring your facts, bring your evidence of what, of why you're contesting your assessment. Please, please, please bring your evidence with you. And we need to keep it. So whatever you present, I'm going to keep because I have to. So please, please, please bring it. Bring your copies. There will be no copies being made there. I hate to tell people no because they just didn't have the evidence to back their claim. So please, I beg you, if you have an assessment appeal coming up in the next 2 weeks, make sure all your stuff's in order. And make sure you bring it all with you. And make sure you make copies. But what we're going on here in this video is absolutely, the beginning of it is correct. When Tim Koo said, the mill rate does not set the budget sets the mill rate. And that's what we've been talking about for months. But like I said, this video is only being made because Democrats and independents are blowing up City Hall. Because they're seeing, because what's happening, and we're going to have another story that feeds off of this, is that you're seeing renters, you're seeing their rents go through the roof. And when we talk about the eviction memorandum that's gone now, so now evictions are on the uptick, and especially those that are putting people that aren't renewing their tenants' leases. There's things that they don't talk about in that paper because they're not renewing these leases because now the rents have gone up so much that unless you have Section 8, you can't afford it. So you're not going to have a landlord renew a lease with someone who can't afford the new rent. That can't afford the new rent. And I think Mike Quinn, in the article, which we'll go through later, knocks it nailed right on the head. You can't just be looking at one side and not looking at the other. If a landlord goes and gives a rent to someone who now can't afford it and they don't pay it, they go into foreclosure. A lot of these people do not own many houses. Some of them just have one or two. Some of them just have one and they live in it. And they rent out the second floor. So I understand everyone wants to sit there and say, oh, the poor renters. About the landlords. About the homeowners. Nobody ever cares about them. So if you read the article today, I think it was either today or yesterday, it's Cry Me a Sad Story. And then Mike Quinn, at the end of it, has to turn around and say, well, we got to look at both sides. And I don't know what the fix is, which he doesn't know what the fix is. Because like I said, 38%, they're seeing those homeowners are seeing a very, very big tax increase come May. And I actually printed it out here. Let's see. So these are what's coming up. So by the 15th of April, they have to hold a city council meeting. Now, of course, the public hearing, and that is usually over at Lincoln Middle School. So I'm thinking they're probably going to do it there again. And I forget which date they actually picked out. I have no idea what date they picked out. I know they did set it. I know I won't be able to make it because I'll be doing assessment appeals. So they have a public hearing, which again, that place should be packed. So we need to. I didn't see Linda jump on yet. If you turn around and if someone could find it, what the date of the city council public hearing is, I believe it's the 14th or 15th. Listen, that place has to be freaking packed, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be. If they're making this kind of video, the calls and the people that are making those calls are people they're concerned about. If I made that call, or if Dan or Sean or people that are Republicans that they know are Republicans made those calls, they just blow us off and be like, who cares? They're always gonna bitch about it. That's not happening here. To have these three doing a hostage video tells me they got some huge problems. There are some huge problems on the horizon for them. So, like I said, when someone sent me the video, I couldn't believe it. But like I said, it made me warm and fuzzy inside. And then listening to it, I'm listening to it, and it's like, this is all garbage. They're just talking in circles. So, did you get anything out of it? Probably not. But they did make a couple of little points that actually made me stop and think. And Kevin did it right off the bat when he talked about the previous years and how they've held the mill rate flat. And they said, the mill rate has nothing to do, the mill rate has nothing to do with the budget. The budget has to do with the mill rate, which is true. So, of course, it got my wheels turning. I'm like, let me go bring up the last 3 or 4 years of the budget. And of course I did. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, so let me just finish this real quick. So obviously the 14th, thank you, Dan, for posting that. April 14th is the public hearing. So make sure you go and attend it. The budget needs to be adopted on the 5th. So it says 5/5/22. And then, of course, the mayor has any vetoes. He has 5 days to do so. And then by the 15th, they need to set the tax rate. And that's when I said, listen, if they set that tax rate and it's that high, you're going to see a lot of for sale signs going up May 16th. So, again, that's the timeline that we have over the next couple of weeks. And it's only weeks. It's not months. It's only a couple of weeks. So we need to make sure we're keeping track of what's going on. So the budget that they have out there now is going from in 2000. So the current budget that we're on is $198 million and change. I'm not going to, it's 198.2. I'll leave it at that. $1 million for our budget. Now for this year, they are looking at $208,470,000. So that's a pretty big increase in funding. Now, just to be fair, they're getting $6 million more from the state. So they're going from 190. So they're going to spend $10 million more this year than what they did previously. And if you look at the last couple of years, so 198 million, and in 2020 it was 197, and then in 19 it was 199. It ended up being. They went a little above what was adopted, but that does happen occasionally. But if you look at 2018, the actual was 190 million. So that means we're going in the last 4 years, our budget increase has gone from 190.7. So let's say 191, just to be nice and be conservative. We went from $191 million to $208 million. And they say most of that, if not 80% of it, is due to salary increases. so that's 91. So that's $17 million. $17 million in 4 years. I don't know what the hell these people are making. Because last time I checked, a lot of the people that were making big bucks have been gone. But to go up $18 million in 4 years is ridiculous. So, also included in the budget is $4.6 million for a proposed motor vehicle tax rebate. So if anyone knows now, our mill rate is set, and that's what our property mill rate is also. So what you pay on your vehicle. So your motor vehicle is what you pay for your vehicle. And now the governor has a proposed to go down to 29, cap it at 29. Now, that helps the city of Meriden. It doesn't help most of the other towns. Because if you look at Cheshire, you look at Berlin, you look at Southington, their mill rate for motor vehicles is not even 29. So it does nothing for them. But what this is, what the governor's trying to do is he's trying to help out the cities. Because what are cities comprised of? Democrats. So this is one of the benefits, I guess, if there is a benefit of living in a Democratic city, is that he's going to help you out. And the state is going to pay for the difference between the 29 mills, and I'm taking it right now, the 40 mills, because that's what it's based on right now. The state will pay the difference, and it comes out to $4,643,178. That's what it comes out to. But see, now DeVernay's already 2 steps ahead of me. He's already 2 steps ahead of me. Because the next question is, okay, well, if we've gone up $17 million over the last 4 years, and in the last 3 years, they're saying, well, we've kept it flat, which is what Kevin was saying at the beginning of the video. One has to scratch their head and say, okay, well, wait a minute. These budgets keep increasing. So where did the money to balance them off come from? And Dan just told you, between the Eversource and Mid-State settlement money, they've been able to sit there and say there's no tax increase. And I think it was, $3.5 million from Eversource? And I don't even know what it was for Mid-State. And then we got COVID money, which we're really going to get into, especially with the Board of Ed. The fact that they're asking for any money is absolutely mind-blowing to me. And we'll get into that. So, even though they're saying the mill rate's been flat, how is that possible? How is that possible? Let's even just go back for the last 2 years. If we've gone from 199 to 197 to 198, we've seen increases every single year. Obviously, that money came from somewhere. And like Dan said, Eversource, Mid-State. And then, of course, the federal government. But now we're making a huge jump. So now the question is, okay, well, where is that money going to? Because you can't go from 198 to 208 and not expect someone to ask a friggin' question. Where the hell is that money coming from? So we went and looked. Because, of course, everything is out there in the ether. And if you attend meetings or you watch the meetings afterwards, you sit there and you start looking to see where money's being spent. So, of course, everyone knows about the library. The library is going to be renovated. It's going to be increased. It's going to be enlarged, increased. And now, of course, we have library personnel in 3 different locations now. You got I think some in the school. You have the Meriden Historical Society, and of course you have the mall, which they are paying for while the library is being redone. So, and now I hear there's talks about the library staying in the mall even after this is all said and done, which I think is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I tell you what, I would have been for that if they didn't do the expansion of the current library. If you want to have a satellite like many towns do, that's fine. Use that money and not use the taxpayers' money, because that is ridiculous. But if you're looking at where they're spending money this year, the one that really sits there and makes me scratch my head is the 41.4% increase in the capital equipment. And the reason why that scratches my head, and I scratch my head over it, because we have a program right now in the city of Meriden with, I think, oh my God, I forgot even how much money is it. Is it 36? Is it 36 million for ARPA money? We've talked about it so much, and I can't remember even what the price was of it anymore. But the one that really sticks out to me, as I was reading it, is the $1.2 million. Really, it's $1.5 million now for the Board of Ed building roof. And I saw that, and I immediately was like, wait a minute. Why the hell would we put in the CIP fund $1.5 million for a roof for the school, for the main office of the school, the central office, when they got their own COVID funds that they could use for that? And they can't sit there and say, well, it's a city property. A lot of what they're doing, if you remember 2 months ago when we first talked about the $24 million that the Board of Ed has and where they're spending that money at, some of it is upgrades to the school system with their air conditioning stuff and all sorts of things like that. So why is this $1.5 million in the CIP bill when it should have come out of the Board of Education's COVID money? Why would the city pick up this kind of cost where they had plenty of money to sit there and put this in on their plans? But instead, they decided to take a hostile takeover of the Meriden Little League and spend $1.8 million over there, when that is the city's property. That is truly the city's property. So why the hell would the Board of Education think for 1 second that the public would be okay with spending CIP monies, which again is just billed out over years, which include which you have to pay interest on? Taxpayers pay that interest, by the way. Why would we do that? Why would we take on that kind of debt and interest when you had the funds available on your own to do this project, instead of wasting your money on things like the ball fields that you had no business doing in the first place? You had no business doing in the first place. But now you want the taxpayers to sit there and give you $1.5 million for a roof? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That would be ridiculous. You want to take that $1.2 million? Listen, I met with the chief this week, on Thursday, and we were talking about the vehicles, the fleets, and how in disarray they were. And if anyone remembers, back when Guy Scaife was here, this used to be a huge problem even under Cassette. And it always came up. They're not swapping out cars enough, and they're having issues with them. Listen, this is the public safety. They drive these cars. They keep them on all the time. They have to. Those vehicles, most people don't realize, those police cars, when they're out in the public, have to be kept running all the time. There's so much equipment in them. There's so much technology and computers running in them, it'll kill the batteries in them. They would kill the battery, so they have to keep them running. And we're still driving Crown Vics out there. Those Crown Vics are what, 15? 10, 15 years old, if not more? I don't even remember when they stopped making Crown Vics. They don't even make them anymore. That's where funds should be used. You want to do capital improvement funds? They're going to do 8 cars over 4 years, over 2 years. They need to double that. You have 19 out of 40-something cars that are below average. That's a public safety issue. That needs to be addressed. That's where, again, these COVID funds should be used. Even though you want to try to spread them out so you don't have to replace them at the same time all the time. You have to have reserves in because, again, if you look at what happened in Waterbury, seven police cruisers, 2 of them which were brand new, destroyed by the hands of one person. That stuff happens. It even happens here in Meriden. We need to spend money wisely. We need to spend money wisely. This is not spending it wisely. This is wasteful. And again, you put this thing over 20 years, how much interest does that come out of? Guy Scaife was fixing that problem. And then it was thrown away. So what else we got here? So the citywide enterprise resource planning software system, I sent an email. I haven't gotten back on what the hell that is. And the $280,000 for a dump truck, $280,000 for a dump truck, you can get ready to, again, use the funds. We keep on hearing that we're not getting enough applications in to use these funds. And I understand that they want to use it for groups and stuff like that. Listen, do what's best for a majority of the people. Roads, again, public safety equipment, dump truck for the highway department. Those are what these funds should be used for. That's what they should be used for. And I like to see more of these department heads bring forward these type of things. Bring forward these type of things. Why make the city pay this over 20 years, over 10 years, whatever? It just doesn't make any sense. But like I said, we went through, so 221. Just want to make sure I hit all my notes here, which I did. So remember, the 14th of April, 5:30. Thank you, Mr. Zabrowski. Is it still at Lincoln, though? We just need to double check on that. Make sure you attend that public hearing. Like I said, I wish I could make it. I'm not going to be able to make it because obviously, like I said, I'll be doing tax assessments. But please get out there. But like we talked about before with these increases, is that this story that kind of mirrored, kind of played off of it, was the eviction notices. Because now that the relief for these homeowners is gone, for those that were during COVID that were getting COVID money and got their stimulus checks and was getting their increase in unemployment compensation, they still weren't doing the one thing. They still weren't doing the one thing that money was made for, that was given them for, and that's to pay their rent. They still weren't paying their rent, and now the chickens have come home to roost. And the problem that they're having now Now, the problem that they're having now is that these people cannot find other rents in their price range. And that's because of multiple issues. One, they've already proven they're not going to pay you. So any good landlord is going to do a credit check. So unless you're on Section 8, if you didn't pay your rent, you're screwed. At least around here, I guess. And you can't blame that on anybody other than yourself. So yes, you're going to see upticks. And like we said before, sure, if you guys want to call in, of course, you're always more feel free to do so. 203-679-9610. Always feel free to call in anytime you like. Always interested in talking to you. It's Mike Carabetta. So it's our council person from Area 4. It's always good to talk to him. So maybe he'll call in. But yeah, so now you're seeing, like I said, so you have property increases coming on the multifamily houses that are well above the 25%. So they're going to see the biggest tax increases of any sector of the real estate market. So of course, with that, they're going to be sitting there and jacking up rates. They're going to have no choice but to do so. And here is Mr. Carabetta. Let's take it. Mike, you there? Oh, hold on. There you go. Are you there, Mike? Mike, Mike, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
All right. So to those of you who don't know who was on the phone here, this is your councilman out of Area 4, Republican Michael Carabetta. What's up, Mike?
Hey, I was listening in and wanted to maybe clarify some things if you had some questions. The one that caught my attention was the police cars.
Yeah.
The CIP right now is 9 police cars. Every year prior, we've done 5 or 6. This year it's 9 because if you follow the news, we've had a couple incidents where police cars were damaged. So it's a little bit more cars this year. Yeah, but every year we do at least 5 or 6. So
looking at the current CIP, just let me pull it back up here. They have it set up over a couple of years. So let me just pull this one up here for the CIP. And what they have, again, this is in the proposed budget for the, now I gotta go. So, okay, keep going. I'm just gonna grab that up.
I guess maybe, when did you get that copy?
This is the one that's on the city's website as of today.
Okay.
Okay, so
does it show 9?
It shows 8 plus detective cars, the van for the animal, and a couple of other specialty cars. And it has it set up over 2 years, with the first one being 4 cars plus 2 detective cars and the van. And then the following year for the CIP, it shows that it is the other 4 cars plus a couple of other detective cars. If I remember correctly, I had it up earlier and I did not save it on here, but I am looking it up.
All right, the one we saw the other night had 9 cars. One detective car, I think, and then mostly cruisers because of all the damage.
Yes, which again is starting to become more of a problem, not only in this city but in other cities, because again, there's no consequences, which is a whole different conversation for criminals in the legal system lately. So, but again, like I said, that's a whole different conversation.
I just wanted to clarify that one point at least is because we are doing all 8 or 9 this year. It's not over 2 years.
Okay, so then, like I said, I'm just trying to pull up where the hell the police one, public safety. Here we go. So all 9 are being replaced this year.
Correct.
Which would be pretty awesome.
That's what's proposed so far. I don't want to say we didn't vote on it yet, but
okay. So is that what the city's asking for? That's what the city manager's asking for?
Yes, that's what the city manager is asking for at this point.
Okay. So one, I hope that happens because that will put us in a good position in the future, especially if we do grow our police department. Because I think we're having another class coming in. If I remember correctly, he told me there was 8 or 9 coming in over next month.
Yes, I believe we talked about 14 this year, just because of retirements and getting up to our staffing level.
Okay, so fire department. That's John Barry. Okay, so I see that they are going to do the roof finally, the roof replacement of the police department.
Yes, that was pulled off of the CIP though, because we were able to source a different funding for it.
Well, that's good. That's always good. Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
So this is
there's money available through ARP and other areas that we're going to take advantage of. We had bonded for something that we were able to use ARP funds for, so we were able to shift the funding to the police roof.
Okay, so here's what's proposed as of right now for police cars from the city manager. Right now, they're looking at, for this current budget coming up, this is what's on the website now, 3 cruisers, a major crimes detective vehicle, a special crimes detective vehicle, a mid-sized transport van for animal control, and an administrative support vehicle, which is an SUV. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what's on the site as of right now.
Right, and everything's kind of fluid right now because it's been changing.
Okay.
As it does during this. So I don't know when that particular form has been updated.
Okay. So
even my budget book doesn't show what we talked about the other night.
Yeah, and then it shows for the following year, 2468, and then in 2025, 246, and then in 2526, 2467. And then 26.
Yeah, it's normally about between 5 and 7 cars.
Correct.
I'm trying to open up my book just to see if it's the same exact thing, because mine is not current anymore because of all the changes.
Right. So, but you're basically saying we're adding 2 more vehicles to that for this year.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yes.
So hopefully that passes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you hit on it, but those cars run constantly. I mean, it's 3 shifts. They're always on, and we've got to replace them.
Which again, like we did just talk about. You just jumped on. Those cars, once they're out in the field, have to be on all the time because of the equipment that's in them. If they don't, they'll just kill the batteries, and we'll have nothing but paperweights sitting out there in the middle of the road. So. Right.
Plus, I mean, they're all available on all shifts. Correct. So that's 3 shifts. It's 24 hours a day. They don't stop running.
Correct. And that does a lot. Most people don't realize that's a lot. It's not just driving time. Idle time will kill a vehicle. So, again,
right. I mean, the one thing I would question on police vehicles would be the ones that are take-home vehicles for the upper echelon. Like, do we need take-home vehicles so much?
You're talking about for your chief.
Yeah, I mean, those are extra miles and stuff. But that would be the only thing I would question. I would never question a cruiser patrol car.
Yeah. I think the only ones for patrol cars that go home are the K9s. Are the only ones that take theirs home.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as somebody's not living down, Ledyard or something like that, and bringing their car home every day.
I drive by East Haven all the time, and there's again a good friend. Who was a cop in East Haven for the longest time. Now is at Mohegan, and he brings his cruiser home every night. It's amazing to me the amount of miles that car must be put on. But even you see Derby cars, Plainville cars, You see them all the time with the K9s, but what are you going to do? You're not going to put the K9 in your own car. So it's
right. I mean, they want to be in a comfortable environment for the dog too. Yeah. Those dogs do phenomenal work. That would help take care of the dogs anyway.
Absolutely. So again, I'm glad you called in because I'm glad that clarifies something that again, it is 9 that they're going to be doing this year, which is great. And hopefully that will pass. Is there anything else we need to know? Because you're on the finance committee, so anything else we need to know that's other than the public hearing that's coming up?
Really, the major point of this budget, and it's been a point of contention with Dan and myself, has been our, for lack of a better term, we've been completely taken out of the labor ad hoc committee. There's been no council representation negotiating union contracts, and we got completely destroyed by so many over-the-top increases. And that's really where the crux of this budget is over-the-top wage increases for union employees.
So normally, if I remember in past, they would always have at least a minority leader in there.
Yeah, Dan was always included. In the last 2 years, he hasn't been included.
Really?
I don't know if that's been a function of Kevin McNabola just kind of taking it over. And I want to clarify, I don't know if that's why. But we're going to fight again to have council representation at the labor ad hoc and involved in the union contracts, because
let me ask you this.
What we're seeing now is really bad.
Let me ask you this. Has Democrats been involved in this, in the labor contracts?
No.
Okay, so
no.
Nobody.
So it's been across the board. I will say that.
So this is literally personnel department, city manager, and finance department that has been taking care of all the negotiations.
Personnel. I'm on the personnel committee. We're not involved in the negotiations. There is no council representation at the union contract negotiation at all.
I guess human resources is what I mean. The human resources department is taking care of it along with them.
Right, where there at least should be some, even if it's just to sit in on them so we know what's going on.
Listen, you should definitely have the majority and minority leaders in there.
I would think so.
I would think so.
I would think so.
I mean, you're having appointed people, where you have to approve it, don't you? As a city council at the end of the day?
No, the union contracts get negotiated by human resources and Kevin McNabola.
So you guys have no say in the contracts at the end of the day?
At this point, yes, correct.
That's freaking crazy. That's crazy.
So, and that's where the major increases are coming from. It's all wages.
Well, they said 86% was wage increases.
I mean, it's incredible. You should see how many wage increases there are and how bad it's driving the budget. So really, at the end of the day, our hands are tied. There's not much in this budget that I can say, well, you got to cut that out, because some of the CIP projects involve water, which we all need water. Yeah. I'm not going to say no to that.
Well, and we've done a lot of money going to the water department as far as the COVID funds, correct?
Oh, yes. Well, but the major water project that we have to do is $37 million. And at this point, we've only started it with $5 million.
Yeah, I that's great. Hey, since I have you on the phone, why is this $1.5 million for the school central office roof not being done through COVID funds or through the education's COVID funds? Why is this?
It's not meeting it's not meeting the criteria exactly the way it should. It's a municipal building. It's not a business per se, so it's not like we're taking care of a small business. And it's also a historic building, which comes into play. I mean, the roof has been bad for well before COVID.
Right, but like I said before, maybe before you jumped on, the Board of Ed has appropriated a lot of their COVID money to building upgrades. So I don't know why this one would be any different. So they're doing the heating and air conditioning.
Some building up, HVACs actually fall in under the guidelines of ARP.
A roof doesn't.
A roof does not.
But okay,
you're not breathing in the roof.
All right, let me ask you this: you guys gave what $400 something thousand to, or $200 something $1,000 to Gallery 53 for a roof?
That was because of the small business part of it, where we're basically saving a small business from going under.
That's what they're going with.
The federal guidelines are really strict, and there's only certain things we can do. I mean, there's a lot we can do, but it has to fall under certain guidelines, and we also have to report that to the federal government, and we don't want to falsify anything.
Oh, listen, I love the fact that, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago with the third party auditing. I absolutely love it because it keeps us out of the West Haven debacle that's going on. So,
my God, did you see that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love the fact that we have someone that's going to be watching over how we're spending the money. They're going to audit these nonprofits and these businesses that are getting it to make sure that it's being used properly.
And it's coming out of the ARP fund, so I don't know why other towns aren't doing that.
I love it, and the fact that they don't report to the city; they report to you guys directly, the committee, which I think is a great thing. I think it shows that it's going to be independent, and they will make sure we stay out of hot water. So,
yeah, I'm very happy with the decision. I'm very happy with the company they chose so far. It's not like I have a huge lot of experience with these kind of companies, but I'm glad that there's somebody there overseeing it because I don't want to make a mistake either.
No, because like I said, we make mistakes and we end up in hot water. So, and then we're spending more on legal fees.
I run restaurants for a living. I'm more concerned about lowering the tax rate for us than I am knowledgeable about federal government grants.
Amen to that. So, listen, I thank you for jumping on and clarifying that because, like I said, from what's on here, obviously it is a fluid thing and it is going to change as we go along. But what again? So I guess. Again, the fact that I don't know if you watched the video that they put out there. Did you watch the what I consider to be the hostage video?
I like how you're calling it a hostage video. Makes me chuckle because that's exactly what it looks like. I don't know why they did it. He asked us if we wanted to go while they did it.
I know why they did it. Democrats are furious.
I know. I heard a little bit about your theory, and I'm not going to confirm nor deny any of that's going on. But people are upset and people are confused. And a lot of what I get from taxpayers, I forward on to everybody because I want, the city manager to know there's a problem. I want the mayor to know there's a problem. I want the tax assessor to know there's a problem with how we're communicating. And this could be, I'm not going to take credit for it, but I've been for 2 years saying, you're not clear enough with the taxpayers. Why am I answering questions that the tax assessor should be answering? They've asked her and they're not getting a clear answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we all know about the issues at the tax assessor's office with the customer service. I know more than just you or the mayor. The other counselors have brought it up. I think it is a serious issue. I've obviously had my issues with communication through there myself, being on the assessment appeals. Listen, at the end of the day, they are obligated to communicate with the taxpayer. And I think, that's one great thing that you do is that you are very visible out there on social media. You usually put out a blog, maybe like once a month now? I know you did one for a while.
Yeah, whenever something happens. I mean, there's been no news for a while. Now that the last 2 weeks has been filled with budget meetings, I've actually had stuff to relay.
Yeah. Now that's on your Councilman Michael Carabetta page, right?
Yeah, Councilman Carabetta, Area 4.
So if you want to know what's going on in the city and like I said, on updates on what's going on in the budget, make sure you like the page on Facebook. And you usually post a lot on the Meriden Taxpayers page.
I will post on mine, and then Linda DeWolf will share it to Taxpayers Anonymous.
Our good friends.
I gave up my owner. Yeah, I gave up my ownership to that page once I became a counselor.
So she has that page now.
Yeah, she runs it.
Okay. So thank you, Linda. So so again, if you're not friends with Mr. Carabetta, make sure you do so. Make sure you go to his Michael Carabetta area, Councilman Michael Carabetta, Area 4. Make sure you like it and stay up to date on what's going on. Again, Mike, as always, it's always a pleasure talking to you. And again, I like the fact that you like to keep the people up to date on what's going on.
Yeah. One last thing, if you got a minute.
Go for it.
Have you watched the Board of Ed Finance
I
the
have
budget
not yet.
discussion?
No.
Oh, here's
All
the
right,
thing.
Give, all
They're
right,
asking.
give me the highlights of it.
Yeah, they're asking for $1.6 million. And in the past, and they always say they're flat funded for years, and we argue that they get more and more alliance grants, so they're not flat funded. They get more money because we're in a impoverished city, and that's how we're paying for it.
Yeah.
But they're asking for 1.6, and I want to break this down because the 0.673 of $1 million is union contracts. And again, here comes the union contracts. There's $1 million, and I don't. You should probably know, but in the past, the Board of Ed had prepaid that $1 million. They stopped that, and now we're hitting that cliff where we've got to give them that $1 million again.
So why?
So we're in that year.
Do we know why we stopped the prepayment? Because that usually gave us a discount on the insurance.
I'm not 100% positive, but it seems to me that Kevin McNabola, and I'm going to preface this by saying he's doing a fantastic job, way better than any of the finance directors we've had before. He didn't like that practice. It didn't jive with how municipalities are doing things, and he's trying to get us on board with how things should be done. So I would think that came from him. And I think probably this year it's a hurt to us, and then it won't be. But I think that change came from him.
So you're basically saying it's gonna level out after this year, because this year we're not.
Yeah, we're taking that hit.
Gotcha.
We're taking that hit.
So it's gonna be a 1 year hit, and then we're back on track with everything the way it should be next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with the Board of Ed, you can't lower how much you give them every year. It is what it is every year. That's why we kind of don't want to keep giving them more.
Correct.
Because it's in perpetuity.
Right, and that's state mandated. That's not even a locally mandated thing. The state mandates once you give it, you can't take it back.
Correct.
So,
but other than that, the Democrat side of the Finance Committee asked them if they needed more money. Which kind of blew my mind, and I kind of lost it a little bit during the meeting.
Wait, so are they basically saying, let me give you guys more money? What else do you want?
Correct.
Oh, God. I'm glad I didn't watch it then yet, because I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, I would watch it if I were you. They want to start funding from the general fund the tutors and paras that are funded through ARP grants and state grants.
Are you serious?
It was kind of mind-boggling.
There goes the rest of my night. I'm gonna sit there and have to watch it now. Thanks, Mike.
Fast forward through as much as you can, because it was a long one, but
Was it? I can only imagine.
Yeah. But that's what we're fighting. So,
well, like I said, keep up the good fight and just try to hold the line. But I think at the end of the day, for single-family homes, I think at the end of the day, the way this all plays out, single-family homes see either flat or a minor increase. I think it's really going to be for these multifamily houses that you're going to see the renters really get hit hard. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of renters freaking out this year.
Yeah, where the line is that median value. We don't look at it as two family, single family, anything like that. It's that median value. So if you're at the median, you're going to be flat. If you're below the median in assessed value, you're going to get a decrease. If you're over the median, you'll get an increase.
Yeah, the problem is,
and most of the city is at or below the median.
The issue you have is that there's two different ways assessments were done. Is that single family houses were assessed differently than multifamily. That's why multifamily houses have skyrocketed on their assessments at 38% and higher in some cases. I've seen some of them that have doubled in value, which is beyond me how that happens. And these are for multifamilies. And these are the ones, again, while you're getting the renters freaking out. because
Yeah,
their
and
rent's gonna go
that
through
they're
the
going to
roof.
end up paying more in rent,
Their rent's going
and
through the
that's
roof.
just the way it is.
It's unfortunate, but they can't. Again, if I don't know if you listened to what we were talking about just before, is that goes hand in hand with the eviction notices that have been on the increase since that's been canceled. Now you could start evicting again. So now evictions
know.
in the city of Maryland have been going through the roof, and
I'm torn on that one because my heart goes out to the people that are going to get their either evicted or their rents increased, but the whole time these landlords have not been paid, and they need to be made whole.
Absolutely.
So it's a double-edged sword. I feel bad for everybody on that whole the whole spectrum.
It's a total mess. And again, some of these people that are being that are not having their rents renewed just due to the fact that rents are going to go up so high. Those people unfortunately can't afford it, so they can't renew a lease on someone who can't pay it. So it's gonna turn into quite a crap show out there,
right?
Over
and they won't be able to find another place because they still won't be able to afford that other place.
Yeah, it's just an absolute mess. I think State Representative Quinn said it best. He's like, "Listen, I don't know how to fix this because what do? You feel bad for the people, sure, but at the same time, you have to take in consideration the homeowner." And the landlords, who some of them just maybe it's their second house, or they rent the upstairs and they have the down. If people don't pay it, you're looking at foreclosures going through the roof.
Yeah, I know, and they haven't been paid for a lot of years now. They're suffering too.
It is a crap show all the way around, and it's only going to get worse right now over the next 12 months. It's sad. It really is. But that's the reality.
I agree. I hope everybody watches the news. I hope everybody stays informed with what's going on with the budget. Hopefully, we'll see everybody at the public hearing, and we'll go from there. We're going to do our best to keep it at a manageable level. Well,
I appreciate it. I appreciate what you guys do between you, Dan, Ray. Bob Williams. Hey, even I've been really happy with seeing Fontanella the way he's been questioning throughout these hearings. So hopefully, the mayor will have some vetoes, especially when it comes to the assistant city manager and a couple of the assessment control. Mike, we can sit here and literally talk about this for hours. We can literally go through this and sit here for hours, and it was just.
If I get my way, there will be no assistant city manager.
I don't see how that happens.
I'll put it.
I think the mayor did. I think the mayor vetoes it. I think they don't have a veto proof. They don't have enough to override a veto. I think Fontanella and Blake, I think, are against it. I think that the mayor will succeed in some of his vetoes this year.
I think so, and I think he'll get. At this point, looking at it, we'll get bipartisan participation in that.
Yeah, so that's all we could look for. Like I said, keep up the good fight, and hopefully we get a decent budget coming out that is going to be fair, and we'll go from there. That's all we could do.
Yep.
Mike,
all right, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you. There you go, guys.
Thanks.
Councilman
Bye.
Michael Carabetta, he represents Area 4, that is South and West Meriden. So again, if you're not part of his page, Councilman Michael Carabetta, Area 4, make sure you go on there and like his page, and he keeps everybody up to date on what's going on, especially with the budgets or if something else is going on in the city. And if you have questions, you could always ask him questions through there also. So again, thank you for calling in. He's basically what he's saying is that there's going to be 9 police cars for this year. So we will keep it at that, and hopefully that will pass the city council. Charter reform. You know me. I'm always in for charter reform. I'm always in for bringing back a strong mayor. I think somebody put a piece on one of the social medias today about charter reform and bringing the strong mayor back. I'm always for a strong mayor because I think it's the easiest way to change the direction of a city when the public feels it's going in the wrong direction. Doing it through the city council where it takes you 8 years to do it, at least, I don't see it being feasible. So hopefully someday we will have charter reform. I hope I am alive to see it. But You never know. So, wow, it's already 8:00. We didn't even hit things. So now the decision comes: do we keep going or do we just? We got to keep going because I don't have time this week to do a separate show. So we need to keep going on this. So next up would be, listen, I don't know. We did a show back we did a show Tuesday of last week about after I saw a bunch of these posts coming from the Department of Public Health. And it is absolutely crazy to me. What the hell is coming out of the City of Meriden Health and Human Services Department? Now, I don't know who is behind this nonsense, but we talked about the race baiting and the race war and all this crap that keeps coming up on this page. And this is funded by the city. This is funded by your tax dollars. Because at first, the education system was racist in the city of Meriden. And I didn't know that because I actually had to go back. Here it is. It was on April 4th. Racist inequalities in healthcare, income, housing, education have widened during the COVID pandemic, harming health and well-being. We must address the public health crisis of racism and advance racial inequality to improve health. First of all, that's friggin' nonsense. Let's just break this down. Healthcare. Every single person, no matter what color you are, has the same access to healthcare. Now, if you want to sit here and bitch about income inequality, that might be one thing, but it has nothing to do with race. And I said this during I had my interview for the CRB on yesterday. I did my interview for the CRB, and I asked them, who the hell, and especially the Mr. Cardona, why the hell are you guys pushing this race thing? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, granted, I know the end game. It's a redistribution of wealth. It's to give, priorities to everything to the minority, which is fine. Listen, if that's their end game, just say it. Just say it. I mean, granted, I know that's what it is. But to sit there and say that there is, and then the income, are we paying in the city of Meriden here? Are we paying Caucasians more money than Hispanics or African Americans? Are they starting at different pay rates? The answer is no. No, we are not. Education. I had to call the education department. Are you guys giving special educations out to white students that you don't give to anyone else? And they said, that's absolutely ridiculous. Why would you ever even ask that? Because your health department is friggin' putting it out there. They're putting it out there. It's absolutely crazy. And I asked, why is everything about race now? Why is everything about that? You want to stop racism? Stop friggin' talking about it, because it's not happening in the city of Meriden. It is not running rampant in this state, in this country. It's not. And then the next day, they talk about how we're polluting our people to death, which I thought was crazy. Where's the next one? That was where's my day 5? Where's that day 3? Oh, well, here's the next one. We must work together to improve housing, education, food, transportation, and environment to support equality, resilience, and health and nonsense. Transportation, listen, you haven't been paying for a bus for 2 years. For 2 years. And even before that, listen, my dad drove a city bus. It's been for a lot longer you haven't been paying if you take the city bus. Because even when they first got those new buses and those new money things, they never worked. So you just let people get on. Next one. I love the one. Because we're literally polluting our people to death. And I swear to God, I saw it and I almost lost my mind. I don't know why I can. So basically, and then the climate change. This was day 6. This was yesterday. While climate change hurts everybody, does it? people of color and those with lower income experience greater health harms. So let's stop that for a second, because they could have just done this, and this would have been an okay post for me. It's still crazy because climate change is not hurting everybody. Listen, this world for billions of years has gotten hotter and gotten colder. And the good thing about humans and why we've lasted as long as we have is because we adapt. We adapt to our environment. Same thing with other animals that have been here for millions and billions of years. It's because we adapt to our environment. So if they had just said, while climate change hurts everybody, those, especially those with low incomes, experience greater health harms. Why add the people of color? Climate change is not targeting them. Are you telling me that climate change is only hurting minorities? Listen, to all my minorities out there, to all my minorities that are sitting here watching this show, I am sorry. I am sorry on behalf of myself and everybody that listens here. I am sorry that you have to be subject to this kind of nonsense. Because what are they saying? Are they saying that you don't know how to get access to health care? You don't know how to get access to good education or the education department? Are they saying you don't know how to get a good income? What are they saying? What are they saying other than don't worry about it, you're a victim? And I know my minority friends do not like playing victim. My minority friends, there are a lot of them that are really, really successful people. More successful than I am. But for some reason, the far left loves to try to make them out to be victims. And I always said it. The most detrimental thing to the African American and the Hispanic community, the most detrimental thing to them is a white liberal. Is a white woke liberal. It's insulting. These type of posts are insulting. It's absolutely craziness to me. And trust me, some of these, when these came out, some of my minority friends are the ones that sent them to me. They're like, what is this? And I don't know who's writing this. I couldn't get that answer. I tried. But this is insulting to the minorities. And they should be insulted by them. This is craziness. They are trying to divide us on purpose. That is their goal. Their goal is to divide and distract from what's really going on. Out of control inflation. Illegal immigration about to go through the roof when Article 42 is rescinded. You think we were about at 12,000 people a day, 18,000 people a day. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, wait till May 14th comes around. They're anticipating 20 to 30,000 a day. And we're going to talk about that next week. It is absolute madness what is going on. I don't think we're going to do the next one. We're going to do, so if anyone doesn't know that President Biden is about to throw out some gun rules to everybody next week or within the next week. Especially when it considers ghost guns. And if anyone doesn't know what a ghost gun is, it's a gun that's made at home. Or not only made at home, but also made at gun stores and stuff like that. And it's considered the lower unit that doesn't have a serial on it. But we'll get into that next week. We'll see what he proposes. I think it's most likely going to be laughable. And looking at all the things they put out there, and they're like, oh, well, they keep sitting there pointing to two different incidents. But at the same time, they don't give a crap about what's happening in Chicago right now, where you're losing about, you're having about what, 200 to 300 shootings a week? A week. But let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about the 200 to 300 gun things that are happening every week. Let's not talk about in the city of Meriden. Let's not talk about violent offenders out there, one after another. And the perfect case would be the gentleman that killed himself in New Haven, the one that shot that poor young lady over there on at the Atrium Apartments. He was out on bond for a manslaughter charge. Ladies and gentlemen, he was out on probation, and then he was out on bail for a manslaughter charge before he killed that poor lady. And luckily, Lieutenant DeMastro was there to make sure those kids weren't harmed. It is absolutely madness what's going on out there. But, as I always say at the end of the day, elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. We have to do what's right. We need to make sure we're voting for the people that want to do right. It's absolutely craziness. But this is what the far left want. I don't even want to say Democrats. Because a lot of Democrats are not on board with this. And I was going to play a Bill Maher segment, for you guys. Because Bill Maher has literally been dead on accurate in what liberals are trying to do. Especially with this whole Florida thing. Where they want to teach first and second graders about sex and transgenders. It's like, why can't you just let 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds be 6 and 7-year-olds? Just let them be 6 and 7-year-olds. They are trying to get these kids, again, there's so much more to talk about on this subject that we'll do next week. Because I would need at least 20 minutes to just to go through all the different things the far left is trying to do. And I think what they're doing at the end of the day is alienating the FDR and the JFK Democrats. I think they have had enough of this crap. Whether it's defund the police, whether it's defund ICE, whether it's no more prisons or incarceration. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? These are the things they're pushing. And again, they're losing a lot of the Democrats that used to sit there and stand by them. But we'll talk about that again next week. Because it's almost 8:30. I know for me, it's almost my bedtime. I go to bed pretty early. I got to be up early. And I had a long trip this weekend up to Michigan, which actually wasn't that bad. So, guys, until next week, like I said, if you have an assessment appeal this week or next week, please, 2 things. 1, be on time. Be on time. We have 690 something of them to go through. So please be on time. 2, make sure you have all your evidence. Make sure you have everything printed, not on your phone. Make sure it's printed out because I need to keep it. So please have those things ready. It makes everything go a lot smoother. So I beg you to do those 2 things, and we should have this whole process will go nice and smoothly. Like I said, I'll be at City Hall for literally the next 2 weeks, every single night other than Sundays. So, and Good Friday, because Good Friday, the City Hall's not open. But we're there Monday through Thursday, and then on Saturday 9 to 1, and then the following week, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning. So please be on time. I look forward to seeing all of you. But until then, as always, be nice to each other. Love each other. I love each and every one of you. And until next week, good night. God bless you. And of course, as always, God bless this amazing country. Good night, guys. See you next week.
And a million faces formed together, made for elevation. And my soldier won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire